Welcome to PLZ Soccer's YouTube channel. We're joined by former Celtic and Scotland fullback Jackie McNamara. Jackie, it's a pleasure to have you with us. So straight into it, first and foremost, is Saturday's game a league decider for you?
I think obviously Celtic win it. That should be it. That should be in the bag. They don't need to win it, but I think if they do win it, that'll be it. Which it's been a good season for them, so a good way to cap it off at home.
What's it like playing in a game like this when it's been so tight all season and you know that there's no margin for error, but all of a sudden the finish line is in sight?
Yeah, and obviously the good start they had, obviously the Rangers had a change of manager and he clawed it back, and then there's a little bit of a gap again. So, they've had completely changes throughout the season. Rangers have done well to stay in the fight for it, but Celtic will just want to go over the line now and make sure that they secure the title.
Obviously too, no fans inside Celtic Park, or no Rangers fans rather, inside Celtic Park on Saturday. The game will be a sellout, huge occasion. Celtic fans, I think, just maybe sent the title is theirs, particularly maybe after a fairly convincing win against Hearts last Saturday. Do you expect it to be straightforward, or do you think this will be a Rangers side who turn up with something to prove?
I think they'll turn up with something to prove. I think their manager will be wanting to try and stir up a little bit and get them up for the fight and try and handle the pressure going to Celtic Park with no away fans. So that's the biggest thing. Celtic handled it well at Ibrox. I thought the first half they were excellent. It was 3-0. It could have been a lot more and should have wrapped it up. Then obviously Rangers came back in the second half. We get back in with a penalty and a deflection and finished the game stronger. But the game should have been finished long before they get back into it.
Do you think there's a psychological element there for Rangers, just the fact that they haven't beaten Celtic all season in any of the meetings? And I think everyone, maybe that first one of the season at Ibrox, I think the anticipation was that Celtic would be lucky to come out of it with anything. Do you think that plays in the minds of the Ibrox side, just given the fact that they've not been able to go and impose themselves on Celtic?
I think it'll be frustrating them more than anything. I think Brendan's record against Rangers is very, very good as well. Over not just this spell, his last spell. There's no doubt Rangers are a little bit stronger than they were at the start of the season. They're a bit more organised in terms of their shape, but I still feel Celtic have the better players, and they'll be wanting to show that on Saturday, that they can go and try and secure the title.
Who within Celtic's ranks would you identify as the guys that could go and make the difference?
I think obviously the main one's Kyogo. I think he's so influential to the way Celtic play, with his energy and his speed, and he causes teams problems. It'd be interesting to see if he puts Maida back in. He's as good. He came back in last weekend. Just his work rate and his desire. They get the opening goal at Ibrox from that, and it pushes Tavernier back. Back at the defensive side. So I think they two there. McGregor's obviously crucial to starting things off. He seems to be, although he'd been out for a while, came back in, but I think last weekend he looked like getting back to himself again in terms of his speed and endurance in the game, and he's a massive player for the team. And Carter Vickers at the back.
Is that the thing, that Celtic have players who have been over the course before, that they've got huge experience in this fixture? When you look at Rangers, maybe Tavernier, obviously a real threat with the goals and his ability from set pieces, but maybe I think Rangers might have expected more from the likes of Fabio Silva and from Todd Cantwell, guys that you maybe expected to bring a bit of creativity.
Yeah, I think them coming into the team, that's what they're in to do, is to create and score goals. They haven't done that probably as much as what they would want. The manager bringing them in. Celtic, as I said, they're the best. They're on the front foot and pushing forward, and you don't want to give them many opportunities in the game, but they can hurt you if you give them enough space and time. You obviously need to be careful not to give any set pieces away, for Tavernier. And that's something I'm sure Brendan will be saying to the players as well.
The game's obviously played out against a bit of background noise this week. There always seems to be something that bubbles along in the background, and I think Brendan Rodgers' remark when he said that we'll have a bit of fun next weekend's possibly slightly been taken out of context, but it was seized upon by Philip Clement too in the aftermath of the win over Kilmarnock. Like, as a player or as a former player, what does that kind of language have an effect, if any, on a dressing room?
It doesn't, to be honest. I think it used to start as soon as the weekend game before, the build up for the game against Rangers. It would start when the media on the Monday you'd see there in the full week. As players, you didn't really take much notice of it because you knew something would be coming out. They try and wind each other up, or it doesn't change anything what happens in the game, how they start the game. I don't really see any problems with Brendan's comments, and it is fun. That's what you're in it for, is to handle these big moments and win trophies and win leagues. You're in front of your own fans. Why would you not want to? And that's the most important bit about it, is how the players handle it, and being part of it is important.
Obviously, in your day, you would have had a much bigger split of fans. There would have been fans within both grounds. Like, just how intimidating and tough can it be to run out and you know that you're essentially in the lion's den for Rangers, that you're coming out and there's no supporters of your own there?
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't there when there was no Celtic fans at Ibrox once when they went away and won there. I think it was John Collins scored a free kick. I wasn't at the club then, but I watched it there. But I'm a great believer that there should be away fans, and hopefully, I know that they're talking about bringing it back next season, but it is a fantastic event to be involved in as an ex-Celtic player, a Celtic player going to Ibrox, and you've got the away fans there and you're celebrating. And I'm sure vice versa, Rangers fans or Rangers players would say the same, because the football is about the fans, and the fans should be able to go and watch their team.
Do you think it has an effect in the game itself when you've got a fairer split?
Definitely. To have the full backing. I think the one. There's been a few games that the fans have really. The fans do help the team. There's no doubt about that. Especially when things are going against you, or you want to get the energy in the stadium, and that will be shown on Saturday, I think, right from the start, and it'll be interesting to see how the Rangers players handle the occasion.
As a player, just what does it take to go into this kind of fixture and keep a level head? Because there's always an element of frenzy about certain moments. It always feels a wee bit that it can be a powder keg at times. Yeah,
I think the biggest thing is not to be looking at all the stuff this week as the players, and the media and the build-up, and I think just to actually not think about it. When I was younger, the first few games we played Rangers, my first game was the 3-3 game at Ibrox, and I spent a lot of energy the night before thinking about the game, or you dream about scoring a goal, or you worry about not making a mistake or whatever. But I think as you get older with these fixtures, you realise it's important not to think about it. You just go about your daily stuff, and then you get ready when you turn up at the stadium, and that's you into game mode.
I suppose so much of that comes from experience, and if you look at both of these squads, but Celtic's in particular, it is a fairly experienced spine that runs through that team when it comes to these kind of moments. Yeah,
absolutely. I think, for Joe Hart, Carter Vickers at the back, Callum in front, these guys have been through it. Even the so-called younger ones, Hatate, they've got good experience. O'Reilly, they've got good experience of the fixture, and they've handled these occasions very well.
And of course, an old head that came to the fore across recent weeks too, James Forrest, was back in amongst it. Do you subscribe to the view that he's been pretty, he's maybe not always had the recognition that he's deserved as a Celtic player?
Yeah, I think when he was younger, obviously, when we were playing sort of wingers, you're always judging. It's always hard to create every game and to be the standout. But I think he has come up with some important goals over the years, James. I was delighted from in the semi-final against Aberdeen. I thought he changed the match in that game, and then he popped up with important goals. And I think he's been a great servant for the club.
Would you be tempted to start him on Saturday, even if Maeda was back, and just play him on the opposite side?
Possibly, but I think I'd be surprised if he didn't start with Maeda, just for his work rate and his desire. And as I said, with pushing Tavernier back the way, Tavernier's not handled him very well. You've seen that in the first few seconds at Ibrox, just worrying about him being there and hitting it off him. So I think, James is one that can come on and change the game if needed, or give you that little spark. But in terms of lasting the 90 minutes in that intensity, I think Maeda would be more suited to start that one in the left.
And of course, VAR has played a significant role in all of the meetings so far this season. Would you expect it to be quite a tough afternoon for Willie Collum? Yeah. I mean, VAR, I'm not a lover of it. I thought when it was first coming into our game that it would probably be a good thing, but it's actually went the other way for me. I've enjoyed watching the games in the Scottish Championship because there's no VAR. You can celebrate a goal and the goal's given. I just think it's taken away the joy and the fun in the game, and I think it'd be good for it to disappear. I think it's a fairly common theme that's ran through this season. It almost feels sometimes that games are being re-refereed rather than by the official who's got the whistle round his neck. Yeah, and I think when you're looking at things in pictures as well, it can paint it differently. You can see a still picture and it looks like that, like it's a bad tackle, or it's something else, or it's a handball. I just think it's very difficult to go and sit and watch the game now and not turn around when the ball's in the net and look for the linesman to see what the linesman's doing and what the reaction is, or can anybody celebrate? And it's difficult for the players when they do, because their celebrations running away, and they sometimes look a bit foolish when it's cancelled off. Are you relieved that you played at a point where you never had it? Yes, absolutely. Don't get me wrong, there's games there that I played in these fixtures that there was a few decisions went against us that you look back and you think, right, wonder if, but then I wouldn't be too sure they'd be changed. Just before we go, what would be your own favourite memory of this particular fixture? Probably the favourite one would be the 6-2 game with Henrik's iconic goal. Just being involved, it was Martin O'Neill's first Rangers game, and it was just an incredible atmosphere, start to finish. But when Henrik, chipped Kloss, it was just incredible to be there. And I think anybody that was at the stadium that day, and would say the same. It was a great game to be involved in, and a great victory as well. That was a game that really set the tone for a whole new era at the club, obviously, but this is a game at the opposite end of the season, one that closes it. But do you think it could be just as significant, this title win for Celtic? Yeah, I think as I said, it'd be an important win. I think it's a massive game for both sides, but I think if Celtic can win it, then that would secure it. It is important that they win the league this year. Rangers have said that there has been little bits of improvement with the new manager coming in, but it just gives Celtic that extra edge over the summer to go and strengthen again and have a go at the Champions League. That's the thing, and the Champions League comes with such a huge kitty next season. Yeah, exactly. That's why it's so important for both teams. The Champions League has not been fantastic over the last couple of seasons and the performances in it, but you still want to be involved in it. You want to try and keep strengthening the team and keep trying to compete as best you can. I know the finances are totally different from the other teams in the Champions League, but
that's what the club needs to aspire to.
Could I push you for a prediction for Saturday's game?
I think it'll be 2-1 Celtic.
Brilliant. Well, thank you for joining us, Jackie. It was a pleasure to have you on. If you enjoyed our content, don't forget to like, share and follow.